Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. For a little bit of fun today, we are going to be taking an Instagram account that strangely got recommended to me, called Elegantly Feminine, from an aspiring godly woman who is posting about faith and femininity. It's one of these like trad wife Instagram accounts. It's a very new account. It's only just kind of started posting, but there's a lot on here and it's growing very, very quickly. In like 3 weeks, they've gone from 300 followers to like 1,300 and then some, and I feel like it's one of these accounts that has the potential to like blow up and just spread a lot of terrible misinformation and bad messages to people. And so today I thought we'd have a look at some of their posts and have a little giggle about it. From a Q&A, I can see that the person who posts on this account is completely anonymous, but they are 22 years old. They are currently in a relationship and waiting to be married by 2023 or possibly this year, and that they are Roman Catholic born and raised. I have explored other denominations, but I've always gone back to Roman Catholicism. So that's the background of this person. That's about it. As always, I'm going to preface this by saying, like, I don't have a problem with anyone being religious. I'm not, like, despite being atheist, I'm not anti-theist by any means, or anti-theist, or however you want to say it, like, not at all. Like, as long as someone's not harming anyone, I have no problem with anyone practicing their religion however they personally choose. I also don't actually have a problem with a person who just chooses to be like a trad wife and this whole kind of thing. You know, if they want to dress modestly, if they want to save themselves till marriage, if they want this and this and this, absolutely fine. I really don't have a problem with that at all. Where my problem comes in is when they start spreading misinformation, and when they start shaming other people, and when they start telling other people what they should and shouldn't be doing. So shaming other lifestyles and telling people that, oh, it's bad if you do this, or feminism is bad because straw man argument, and so on. And that's what we kind of see a lot of on this Instagram account. But mostly I want to do something today that's not too heavy, but also we can learn something along the way, you know? So let's take a look at a few of these recent posts. So she has this really interesting format where a lot of her posts are just like reposts of like tweets from trad femme Twitter accounts and fundamental Twitter accounts and stuff like that. Basically like tweet over some kind of Renaissance painting, or a photo from the 1950s, or a photo of Audrey Hepburn for some reason. It's like that is their icon, Audrey Hepburn, which is funny because a lot of people who actually look into the life of Audrey Hepburn think she was absolutely a feminist. So them using her as this like anti-feminist icon like they do in a lot of these posts is just very funny to me. Anyway, so there are a lot of posts like this, which is like, feminism has made it so much more difficult to lead a traditional lifestyle, and then posting tweets like, in the long run, feminism does not help women. Traditionally, women had the right to be protected and provided for by men so they could raise children. Now women must take on the burdens of the man as well as the burdens of the woman. Feminism did away with that right. No, what you mean is, traditionally women had no rights at all. We were essentially bought and sold like property. We weren't allowed to have our own money. We had no freedom. We couldn't say what we wanted. Most people didn't even have a choice over who they married. We weren't protected and provided for by men. We were bought and sold by men. We were controlled by men. We were used by men. It's that simple. If it wasn't for feminism, you couldn't choose to stay home and raise your kids. You would have to stay home and raise your kids because you had no other choice. And if a man didn't want you for whatever reason, you would be pretty much screwed. You would be controlled by your father for your entire life. Thanks to feminism, women actually have some freedom and independence if they want it, and most people I think do. People like, you know, Elegantly Feminine here. People like The Transformed Wife. People like Girl Defined. People like Paul and Morgan. I see them talking about how feminism's done this and feminism's done this and it's terrible and terrible, terrible. I'm like, if it wasn't for feminism, you would not have a platform or a voice to voice your concerns about feminism. They don't realize that they're currently benefiting from feminism. Bethany from Girl Defined in particular likes to talk about how she did all this work before she was married, and she was like, yeah, you know, I was content as a single woman, which is debatable, but she's like, I was content as a single woman, and I had these projects, and I did this, and I worked on Girl Defined, and blah, blah, blah. And what she's essentially saying is that before she was married, she still had a life because she was able to run her own business. Girl Defined is essentially a business. She was able to write books and videos and make money, and she had her podcast all before she got married and had kids. And she's like, yeah, I had a fulfilled life then because I was doing God's work and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yes, but you couldn't have done any of that without feminism. If it wasn't for feminism, you wouldn't have been able to have your own bank account. Think about all the authors in the past who had to write under male pseudonyms because their work could not have got published under their own name. The Bronte sisters, for example. Like, Middlemarch is still said to be written by George Eliot. which is a pseudonym for a woman. If it wasn't for feminism, Kristen and Bethany could not be making content under their own names, using their own voices and faces and likeness and making their own money. I don't think they realise this. It blows my mind a little bit. Oh, here's an interesting post. Should women be entitled to period leave? So this is like an argument about, should women be able to get paid time off work when they're ill with their periods? Because for some women, myself included, periods are incredibly debilitating. I have had a whole bunch of tests and it's still all ongoing stuff, and I'm waiting to hear back from the doctor and everything because my periods are really, really bad. We're talking like crying levels of pain. We're talking like the pain makes me throw up a lot. It gives me a lot of tummy issues. It's just everything is bad. For about 2 days out of the month normally, I am useless. I cannot do a thing. And basically the argument is like, is it really fair that women have to take unpaid time off for something that we can't really help? Because not every woman can be on birth control to control it. Not every birth control will control it for women. Some women don't want to be on birth control because maybe they're trying for a kid, so the period's bad. There's a lot of things. And basically the point is, periods are out of our control, but they happen to most women. And is it really fair that we have to take time off, that our careers suffer because of that, that we lose money because of that? That's kind of the debate. And so this person decided to weigh in. This has been a debate for quite a few years now. It recently started gaining traction again, so I wanted to talk about it. The traditional 9 to 5 was based around a man's hormone cycle. Yes, men have hormone cycles just like women do. The key difference is that men have a 24-hour hormone cycle while women have a 28-day hormone cycle. This means that men get a whole new set of hormones every 24 hours, but women's hormones are constantly fluctuating over the span of 28 days. So each day is different for women, while men can wake up and repeat the same day over and over and over again. Again, this is due to men not having a 28-day cycle, but their hormones do fluctuate during the day. Women do not have the same strength levels, creativity levels, energy levels, etc. due to us having a 28-day cycle. Men do best when they have a consistent routine and they stick to it. Women do not, because we don't have that daily hormone consistency. We do best when we account for those fluctuating hormones throughout the month. If women want to be a part of the workforce, instead of apart, if women want to be a part of the workforce, get paid equally, have the same opportunities, etc., then they shouldn't have an unfair advantage like getting extra paid time off. I understand that periods are painful and uncomfortable, but this is a clear indicator that women belong at home rather than a workplace. If women are at home, we can adapt our schedule according to our fluctuating hormones. We're designed to be at home managing the household, taking care of our children, and serving our husbands. There is a lot to unpack here, but I think, for the sake of time, we're just going to focus on this last paragraph, right? If women want to be a part of the workforce, getting paid equally, have the same opportunities, etc., then they shouldn't have an unfair advantage like getting extra paid time off. Now, this says to me that they don't understand conversations around equality, essentially. There's lots of like varying definitions of equality and equity and all this sort of thing. Basically, without getting too far into the semantics of stuff and nitpicking and all that kind of thing, I don't think a woman getting extra time off for period pain, for example, is an unfair advantage. It's just allowing them to catch up to men. If anything, men have the unfair advantage now because, they already earn more than us, they already have a lot more opportunities than us, there's a lot more men in positions of power already, and the power structures we have in place, they do benefit men on the whole a lot more. And because the majority of men don't have to deal with these consistent health issues on a regular basis, they do have an unfair advantage because, they don't have to take time off, they don't have to take pay cuts, they don't have to miss out on things. So if you say to a woman, hey, you don't have to take a pay cut for something that you can't help, for something that's just in your biology, I don't think that's giving them an unfair advantage, that's just allowing them to keep pace with the men. It's as simple as that. If you imagine starting lines in a race, men are here, women are already starting down here, and when they don't have paid time off for period pain and stuff, they just get further and further and further back. But if you allow them a little more paid time off and understanding around period stuff, it just launches them forward a little bit so they're a little closer to the men's starting line. So, they can be a little bit more equal and have the same opportunities. Equality isn't necessarily about making sure everyone has exactly the same thing. It's about making sure everyone has what they need to get to roughly the same place. Again, you wouldn't say, well, actually, no, maybe this person would. If you have kids living in poverty and you give them free school meals, for example, you don't say they're getting an unfair advantage over kids whose parents are millionaires, you know? That's not how it works. You're just making sure that everyone has the basic necessities that they need to live by. And the thing is, like, she admits that things like a work schedule are designed around, for example, men and their needs and their lifestyle and what comes naturally to men, if you want to put it that way. She admits that. Because the thing is, like, a work day, a work structure, a work week, it is a social construct. It's something that we as society have designed. And because men were in charge when we came up with that, it is designed to fit around men and work best for men. And I mean, there's way more nuances to this. It's not this simple, but for ease and time's sake. And so admitting that maybe that schedule isn't best for women isn't a sign that women don't naturally belong in the workplace. It's a sign that when we came up with this, it was because of patriarchy, and women are disadvantaged because of patriarchy. That's what this means, not, oh, well, women don't belong there at all. It's like, imagine if I opened a special club, and to get into this club you had to bring a homemade cake, and I said, yep, no entry without a homemade cake, and then someone turned up and said, hey, look, I'm not naturally a good baker, but I'd really like to come to your club. It's like me turning around and saying, ha, see, this is proof that non-bakers don't belong in any clubs ever. Keep all non-bakers out of clubs forever. It's only what's natural. Do you see how ridiculous it is when we put these other arbitrary values in, instead of just male and female, or men and women? You know, it's ridiculous. And then there's a lot of rubbish about gender and stuff, like, there's this whole, like, you can't find a woman unless you're a biologist thing and all that. Like, I don't know the origins of this, but I've seen it around and lots of, like, fundies talking about it and, like, this whole biologist thing. And this person's like, man, a person with XY chromosomes and male reproductive organs. Woman, a female with XX chromosomes and female reproductive organs. The fact that people argue against basic biological truth that we've known since the beginning of time is the definition of delusional. It's like, no! Like, tell me you don't understand basic biology and sociology without telling me you don't understand basic biology and sociology. There is so much more to sex than this, and that's without even touching on gender as a completely separate thing. What about people who have XX chromosomes but, for example, no uterus, no ovaries? Are they not women in your minds because they don't have female reproductive organs? What about people who are intersex? People with XXY chromosomes? People who are born with two different sets of reproductive organs or partial sets or anything? There's lots going on here. Sex is far more complicated than just this chromosome or this chromosome. There's a lot more to it. And then gender is a whole separate thing, because while we can define sex in these terms, gender's completely separate, because gender is a social construct. These ideas of men and women, masculine and feminine, like, they are constantly shifting and constantly changing. And they're defined by so much more than just what our chromosomes are and what our genitals are and what organs we have inside our body. A lot of it comes down to, like, our brains and how they function. And to pretend that, like, trans people don't exist or non-binary people don't exist is ridiculous, because they clearly do. And these people aren't delusional. They're just being true to themselves and how their own brains work. A lot of people, like, kind of mock and sneer because they think that things like non-binary are like, oh, it's this new fad and it's silly and it's just people falling for it. Like, no, that's all really stupid stuff. So many cultures have had non-binary genders going back thousands of years. Like, anthropologists have found, like, even tribes in the middle of nowhere with no outside influences who have people who essentially fill a kind of non-binary role, who identify as neither or both genders. Like, there's some really interesting stuff out there, and it seems that this is a perfectly natural thing in human existence. Even the idea of there being a sex binary or gender binary, this isn't something that we see throughout all nature. So many animals are hermaphrodites or can change sex. It's actually really, really normal. And the sooner we get used to these ideas that it is actually normal, even if you don't necessarily understand it yourself. I think for some people, especially when they've lived a sheltered life, like, I understand where they're coming from, because it can be hard to know what something must feel like if it's completely alien to anything you've ever experienced before yourself. So If they're completely happy in their gender, in their body, in their identity, I understand why it's so difficult for them to understand that other people don't feel that way. But that doesn't make their view right, that doesn't make it correct, and it doesn't mean they can be harmful and spew hatred like this. It just means they need to understand people and show a little bit more compassion and understand what the real world is like for a lot of other people. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And then there's just like a lot of weird straw manning posts like this one that's like, I think it's unfortunate that a woman who has found a man that truly loves her, is enjoying her relationship, can't be overly expressive because other women would make fun of her and say things like, ew, you're publicly claiming a man, are you not embarrassed, etc. It's sad. And then the caption is, it's so sad that women can no longer express their love and gratitude towards their husbands without being ridiculed by other women. Who has ever done this? I have never seen this anywhere, ever. Oh yeah, and then we have the typical porn kills post. I'm not even going to comment on that one. There is a masculine man behind every happy woman. Can confirm that's not true. Women have nothing left that's ours. Anyone can appropriate our sex. We are referred to as bleeders and pregnant people. Biological men beat us out of our own spaces. Woman doesn't have any definition of meaning, and we're expected to accept our own erasure. It's gross. So ridiculous. Third wave feminists are so unhinged and short-sighted that now they're erasing women from society. Woman of the year is a man. Best women's swimmer is a man. Is this what progress looks like? I don't understand how feminists don't understand why this is such a problem. They're actively trying to erase themselves. Do feminists really believe this is what progress looks like? I'm sorry, but if you feel intimidated or like your identity is erased just because trans women exist, then how fragile is your own sense of identity? Trans women are women, it's just as simple as that. They don't affect you or your identity, whether you're like a cis woman or a cis man or anything like that. They just exist. There's no erasure. There's no them taking anything away from us. It's not impacting who we are as cis women. It's just the acknowledgement that they exist and they're valid as well. It's as simple as that. Also, I find this weird that there's like an objection to terms like pregnant people. Like, I see a lot of people, like, again, Bethany from Girl Defined does this all the time, I've spoken about this in a video, these ideas that like, oh, I'm not a pregnant person, I'm a pregnant woman, I'm a mother. I'm like, you can be both. Like, it's not a one or the other, it's not an exclusive thing. No one's saying you can't call yourself a mother or a woman or a pregnant woman or whatever you want. Simple as that. Think of it like a Venn diagram, right? You have this circle of people who are cisgender women who can be pregnant. You have this circle of women who are cisgender women who can't get pregnant. You have this circle of people who are transgender men who can be pregnant, and so on and so on. And you can put these circles together and these are just pregnant people. That's it. That's all the term is used for. It's just trying to be a little bit more inclusive. Like, it's not saying that you can't still call yourself a woman or a pregnant woman or a pregnant mother or whatever you want. It's just saying when collectively referring to all of these people, just use pregnant people. Simple as that. It's really not a big deal. It's not putting anyone out. It's not putting anyone down. It's not lessening anyone's identity or whatever they want to say. Is it Kubi? Is it Kubi-Koo? I know. You agree, don't you? Marriage is between a man and woman. Children need a father and a mother. On this hill I will die. I don't see what marriage and children have to do with each other. Yes, you can be married and have children, but you can be married and not have children. You can have children and not be married. They don't have to be inherently linked. Simple as that. Like, these things are just kind of getting boring at this point because they just repeat the same things over and over again and give no good reasons why. They're just like, oh, this is what I think. Like, how many times can you just keep going on about this before, like, everyone's just bored of hearing it? I'm bored of hearing it. It's hateful. You're being hateful. Move on. Grow up. Get over it. If a married couple decides not to have kids, how does this impact the people tweeting stuff out like this? If two gay guys decide to have kids and get married, how does this impact people who are tweeting out stuff like this? Same with two women. Same with non-binary people involved. How does it affect anyone else? It doesn't. They just want to be angry, and I'm really tired of it. Look, here's another one from the same guy. Dear sisters in Christ, feminists want you to be ashamed of biblical womanhood, loving unborn children, being a wife and mother, submitting to your husband, dressing like a decent woman, believing only men can be pastors, and obeying Jesus Christ and his word. Do not be deceived. But, hey, feminist here. Don't be ashamed of any of that, as long as it's right for you. Be ashamed if you're spewing this as the only way to live your life, be ashamed if you're shaming other women for not doing this. Yeah, feel ashamed about those things, but if you're just deciding this for yourself and your own life and you're not forcing it on anyone else, do whatever the hell you want. Do what makes you happy. Don't settle with a woman who won't love you. That seems fair. Obey you, follow you, respect you, cook for you, clean for you, submit to you, remove your stress, respect your parents, start a family with you, dress and act feminine, seek only your attention. So basically, they don't want to marry a person. They want to marry like a silent object who'll do whatever they say. Oh, here we go. And now, like, all this stuff about, like, drafts and whatever. Like, Ukraine have said that every man between the ages of 18 and 60 must fight in the war. No feminists have spoken against this since. Suddenly, equality doesn't matter anymore. And there's, like, a whole bunch of posts like this. Like, it's so telling that there are 0 feminists talking about equality when men between the ages of 18 and 60 are being drafted to fight in the war going on in the Ukraine. Not a single feminist has said we'll fight too. None of them seem to care that only men are being drafted. And that is abundantly clear when you look at these tweets. Most of these women have already deleted their tweets. And then they go on and on and on. A lot of people say, like, oh, if you're a feminist, why don't you think women should sign up for the draft too? And I'm like, God, I don't think anyone should be drafted into war. I don't think anyone should be made to fight when they don't want to, man or woman. I don't care what your sex is or what your gender is. I don't think anyone should be made to fight if they don't want to. I don't know if this is controversial. I don't know the ins and outs of the politics of war and stuff like that and like what's really going on in the Ukraine and stuff. But I don't think any of these men should be made to fight if they don't want to. I really, really don't. And I think that goes for everyone. It's as simple as that. So I will stand up and call out drafts, but in the way I believe. I'm not going to say, oh, women should be drafted just for the sake of it. I'd rather say no one should be drafted. Maybe that's controversial. Male feminists are the biggest red flag. Yes, please keep believing that because I'll take them instead. Dear pro-abortion folks, your 5 minutes of pleasure, sex, doesn't trump the lifespan of a human being that results from your time of pleasure. My body, my choice ends when you accept the risk of pregnancy and choose to have sex. 0.001 risk is still choosing to risk it. It's very telling that they think it's just 5 minutes, isn't it? Sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but consenting to have, for example, a penis in you is not consent to having something grow inside your body and leach off your organs. Not by any means. That's like saying if you eat meat, it's consent to having worms or another parasite living inside you because you took that risk and now you can't get it treated. Or swimming in a river, or going in a field and like having a tick bite you, or like it's saying that like going places or doing one activity is consent to have a parasite in you. That's not how it works, not at all. You can consent to one act without consenting to all the potential consequences. It's like saying, well, if you light a match, you consented to your house maybe being set on fire. So we're not going to send the fire brigade and you just have to watch it burn down, okay? You can't put water on it, that's not allowed. You lit that match, you consented to your entire house going up in flames. It's like, no, I consented to lighting this match to light a candle, that's what I wanted. I didn't want it to like spread like it accidentally did. When consequences happen, it's absolutely okay to take care of them and step in and have some help. When you go outside and you catch a cold, you don't just have to suffer through it, you can take cold and flu medicine. For every action, there's a risk it's going to affect our bodies. And just because we've taken that risk, that doesn't mean we don't deserve treatment. If a person does a stupid, dangerous skateboarding stunt and breaks their leg, they can still have their broken leg treated. Just because they did something silly to get there, that doesn't mean they don't deserve treatment. A baby should not be a punishment. A baby should not be, well, that was the risk you took and now you have to deal with it for 18 years and now this new life is suffering because you didn't do exactly what we wanted. Baby should never be a punishment or a consequence. Baby should be wanted. Pregnancy should never be a punishment or a consequence. Pregnancy should be wanted. There's no better way to honor your husband in marriage than by taking his last name. It shows your selfless commitment to him. It illustrates a strong sense of unity. It shows you're proud to be taken off the market, and it shows him how much you value carrying on his family name. This one I found particularly funny because I've always said if I get married, I'm not going to take the person's surname at all. I like my name. It's who I am. It's my identity. It's what my identity's always been, and I don't think I should change that for another person at any point. It just doesn't feel right to me. You can have a sense of unity in a family without sharing a name. Me and my sister have different surnames, but we're still family. Like, there's still a sense of unity. Tell you what, if you want to instill a sense of unity, then why doesn't the man take the woman's surname? That's showing his selfless commitment to you, isn't it? That's illustrating a strong sense of unity. That's showing he's proud to be taken off the market. Why aren't you saying the same thing to men? Why is it women who have to do it? Because it's rooted in misogyny. Simple as that. If you want to take someone's name, there's absolutely no problem with that, and you can decide to do that for your own reasons, but telling someone they have to do it, or, they're not selfless, otherwise they're not a unit, otherwise, they're ashamed of their partner, because that's what this is implying, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, this point I actually agree with. If he does not share your values, don't waste your time. Absolutely agree with that. Fantastic advice for all serious dating. And you know what, I've gone on long enough. This was only supposed to be a short, silly video, but I feel like I've ranted quite a lot. Let me know what you thought of this and the post down in the comments below. I know I didn't do a deep dive on every single thing we covered because that would take way too much time, so I probably missed a lot of stuff. I've probably not spoken in as much detail about a lot of stuff as I wanted to. But it's not for necessarily like ignorance or like an inclusivity or anything like that. It's just lack of time and wanting to cover a lot in one video. So if you do have anything that you want to add, then please leave a comment down below. But please remember, be kind, be respectful to each other, and don't invalidate anyone else's identity, because that's really not okay and not cool. But for now, thank you for watching today. I appreciate you a lot, and I'll see you again really, really soon.